Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds.
Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous two-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month.
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
That's true. You don't see them in those neighborhoods. Nope, never, ever, ever. I haven't seen them anyhow. I've certainly never seen the drive-through in Bel Air. You know. Right. Hey, it's part 4 of the Sidecast Radio Show. Simulcast on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, as well as Blog Talk Radio. Closing up the show here in the last half hour. So,
the EPA.
Yes, the environmental protection assholes.
I like that.
I read it wrong. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's I'm trying to look at what the acronym stands for. I don't care enough to really know. So, the Environmental Protection Agency declared a town in Wyoming part of the Wind River tribes. They declared it part of the Wind River Indian Reservation, which goes directly against a 1905 law passed by Congress saying that the town of Riverton, Wyoming, was part of the state of Wyoming. So the Environmental Protection Agency, on its own, well, not on its own. It was the Department of the Interior and, of course, the Department of Justice as well, says that no, this town of Riverton is part of the this Wind River Indian Reservation. So you're no longer part of the state of Wyoming. I did not know, and I've been researching in the Constitution where the executive branch gets the authority to draw state lines. I don't see it. If anybody can find it in the Constitution,
email us at info@fhrmedia.com.
I know this document is so long. Like the health care bill, it is.
My wallet is thicker.
No, it's not.
I wonder. It's mind-boggling to me, and I just can't possibly fathom that the Environmental Protection Agency, those jackasses, what's the water collection and water tax and now they're in there was a thing a couple months ago, they're going to be in anywhere that water collects that they have right to do any sort of enforcement and blah, 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 blah. They are now going to turn around and say that this town of, was it Riverton? Riverton, Wyoming, is no longer part of the state of Wyoming.
Governor Meade had something to say about that.
Really?
Yeah, he was not happy. He's not going to honor the agency's decision.
Oh,
and
good.
he's going to fight it in court.
I just want to see who the hell do they think they are?
They think they're the Environmental Protection Agency, Sean. What do you mean, who the hell do they think they are? Somebody needs to protect the environment, and you need an agency to do so, hence the term Environmental Protection Agency.
Did they say why?
Yes.
Why? Because
they need to protect the environment, Sean. Otherwise, they wouldn't have ruled on this.
But to walk into any state, say, oh, by the way, EPA, no big deal. Hey, remember that town in the top left corner of your state? Funny thing about that's no longer in the top left-hand corner of your state. It's Indian land.
Yep, it's Indian land, and they're a sovereign nation. Hey, have a good.
By the way, we hit you with the $1.2 billion fine because you used uncirculated salt to salt the roads. All right, we'll talk to you later. Absolutely ridiculous.
Whoa, wait a second. But they did that in that segment of the state you just took away from me.
Yeah, you're going to have to pay twice because it's Indian land. It's protected land. Right. So that actually, what you don't realize is that penalty is times 3. So you really need to, and if you don't pay it within 30 days, oh, and just so you know, you can't possibly appeal this. You know, you just kind of, you get stuck with it. So you're hosed, and I hope you enjoy that. I really do. This is, once again, and I don't know.
You know what I hear?
Seriously.
Right?
Get on the trains. I mean, that's almost, this is insane. You are an agency who your whole purpose, and I understand, your whole purpose is to protect the environment
It's a joke.
from those evil
It's a joke.
corporations that go out of their way to create more waste and destroy the environment.
Right, because I get that we are the number one polluter in all of the world from our industry. I get that. We have the dirtiest water, we have the dirtiest air. I don't know how people even live in this country. I mean, they might as well go to Mexico or China to be healthy. But
especially China. This is just beyond me. It's almost like they sit around and they're like, all right, the whole if any sort of water collects on your property thing, that was good, right?
Right.
We really screwed some people on that. But how can we take it to the next level? And some a-hole said, hey, I got it. Let's change the state lines. We can't change the state lines. No, I have this idea. It has to do with an Indian reservation I was on in Wyoming one time. The people of Riverton right outside, I couldn't get a cup of damn Starbucks anywhere in that town. So I say, screw them. We're putting it to the Indian land now. And then it falls under federal control completely.
And we can put a Starbucks
and
there.
we can put a Starbucks in there. Mission accomplished, ladies and gentlemen.
Whoa. Hang on a second. Your boss likes Dunkin'.
So we can put a Dunkin' Donut. But the simple fact that it's almost like they go out of their way to show how important. Listen, if I was at a federal agency and everything's running great, I'm not going to rock that boat. I'm just going to sit back and
because everything's running so great at the EPA.
No, but you know what I mean. I'm not going out of my way to start looking for stuff to do in the sense of changing an entire state and absorbing the town of Riverton, Wyoming, into an Indian reservation. That is just, to me, absolutely beyond the capabilities of not only the EPA, but, I don't know, even the president. You just don't. The executive branch does not have the power to change state lines like that. It just doesn't work that way. Once again, Congress is sidestepped for a pet project.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm glad you agree with me. Glad somebody agrees with me, for goodness sakes. What? What are you going to say?
This administrative state is just...
It's the worst. And people don't realize...
Don't we have any Troy Gowdy clips we can play?
People don't realize how much this government invades your personal privacy. States' rights now goes back to the 17th. If the 17th was standing right now, do you think that the senators from that state would allow this to happen, or would they go up one side and down the other of the EPA because they would be elected by the state?
Well, how many states would? How many of them would cut funding?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I don't want to fund the EPA because they're doing a shitey job. Well, and that brings me to the question of this town of Riverton. If they're no longer part of the state, and let's say that
the residents don't have to pay state taxes.
Or worse, they lose state funding.
Or they lose that block of voting for representatives.
Yeah, and now there's one less representative.
So is this they don't consider it part of the state for purposes of monitoring the Clean Air Act? Does it matter, though?
No, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, right?
What does matter is the simple fact that the EPA just can't come in and rewrite state lines whenever the hell they want.
Right, for monitoring or other.
This is just insane to me. I got to move on because you know what? This is just going to piss me off to the point that I'm going to be screaming. And
Prove it. I dare you.
Real quick, as we only have a few minutes here left in the show. So The Hill and Politico, there was these two writers that did a book on Hillary Clinton.
Okay.
And it had to do with the fact that in 2008, when she was running for president, she actually kept what they're referring to as the hit list.
Okay.
And essentially...
one of our friends is already doing a story on something like this.
No, this isn't the 47 bodies of Hillary Clinton. This is a different one.
Oh.
This is...
So this isn't like a literal hit list.
Well, no, but it...
Like a hit list, like in
it
terms
kind
of...
of
like,
shows you that she's able to keep
wait,
one.
hang on a second. Like hit list in terms of like booty call, like I'd hit that?
No,
or hit list is in terms of like dead, or what are we talking about? Is this like some kind of perverse hit list where Hitler's like, oh yeah, Chris Christie, put him at the top of that hit list. I'd hit that. Well, I mean, what are we talking about here? Define, because I'm at a loss.
It's a political hit list, essentially who she was going to blackball.
That now, wait,
no,
what is it?
No.
Ken hasn't called in.
I know he hasn't.
What are we talking about?
It's people that instead of endorsing her, endorsed now President Obama, then candidate Obama.
Got it.
For the presidency, and she ranked them from 1 to 7. Which can I talk to you about that for a split second? Who ranks 1 to 7?
Hillary Clinton does. Next question.
No.
Yes, she did.
Doesn't that show you just how weird and bizarre?
I would number it at like 1 to pi. Right? 1 to pi or any variation
1.314. Oh, he's really bad. He went all the way out to
3.14.
He went all the way out to the 18th decimal. That guy's screwed.
Do it something random like that, kind of like how we do topics here.
Exactly. We just write it all down on the board and decide which one we're going to go to next.
Pi times infinity.
So she keeps this list, and apparently John Kerry was one of the big no-nos. Ted Kennedy was one of the big number 7s on there as well. And somebody actually...
John Kerry was a big number 7. What, like he's bent over like a number 7?
He's also a giant number 2, but that's not the point. By the way, I wish I could find the quote, but there was a quote from the Israeli Minister of Defense. Kerry was over there help peace talks between Palestine and Israel.
And he did a great job.
Yeah, and he essentially told him that he was useless to leave. But
shock.
So this proves that she keeps lists on people. That's how her brain works. It's not just, hey, if you're not with me, you're against me, that's fine, whatever, you have your right to your opinion. I respect that. It was, hey, if I get elected, these people ain't getting dick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe they will, but they're certainly not getting anything from Hillary. And at some point, it kind of shows you how her little insane brain works. That she has some serious issues going on. And I don't know, maybe other candidates have kept such lists and it hasn't come out yet. But the fact that they wrote this book and they really highlighted that and what a big deal it was, kind of shows you that it goes well beyond just, oh, that guy's a jerk. And, of course, her people already came out and said, oh, but, that was just for the election. Now it's all over. It's a clean slate. Everything's fine. They're not still on the tarred list.
The what?
The tarred list. Like black, tarred and feathered. What did you think?
I thought you were...
I know, I talk funny sometimes.
Yeah, the tarred list. I thought that was some kind of disparaging comment about mental incapacities.
But one of her spokesmen, this Alec Gerlach, told The Hill in an email after this all came out, well, Secretary Kerry and former Secretary Clinton do share a long friendship. Secretary Clinton's advice and guidance were both generous and insightful as he transitioned into the role as Secretary of State, and they've continued to partner together, most recently at Georgetown University, promoting the rights of Afghan women, an effort that was started by Secretary Clinton and supported by Secretary Kerry.
Why wouldn't they promote the rights of all?
Well, I will never understand that. But the fact that she has to go on, instead of just send an email and be like, you know what, that was BS. When you have to go and overprove that it's not as bad as everyonene's making it seem,
it's as bad as
everyone's making it seem. You know?
Yeah. Okay, so I have one.
Okay.
So, Darrell Issa, Republican out of California. Yes. Again, oxymoron. Those California Republicans are kicking ass.
Recently,
yes,
right?
Maybe that's what the R stands for. Recently, California is. Anyways, and Jim Jordan, who's a Republican out of Ohio, formally requested that the Justice Department Inspector General conduct its own investigation into DOJ's review of the IRS scandal. Yep, they're frustrated with the slow-moving and kind of the walls they're hitting, dealing with their probe into the IRS scandal, and so they basically said, you know what, we don't trust you guys. We want an independent investigation into this. So in Representative Isa's statement, he says, quote, the department has created the appearance that it is not taking seriously its responsibility to conduct a thorough investigation of IRS misconduct.
Wow. That's pretty cool to know. Hey, that's something that's gone by the wayside a lot, too, that's really upsetting to me, and I'm glad that somebody's bringing that to the forefront. It needs to be done.
That was a joint letter from Isa and Jordan in a letter to Inspector General Michael Horowitz. I want to call him Howitzer.
We got to follow that one because that's actually a big one. So I found the story I was talking about. Israeli Defense Minister Moshe Ya'alon had criticism for slamming U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, and this one's from Breitbart, who showed up. He turned up here determined and acting out of misplaced obsession and messianic fervor for a peace deal. And then he went on to just tear him apart to the point that even Prime Minister Netanyahu had to come out and just be like, well, he didn't really kind of mean that. And he was just upset. Ya'alon added, in reality, there have been no negotiations between us and the Palestinians for all these months, but rather between us and the Americans. The only thing that can, quote-unquote, save us is for John Kerry to win a Nobel Peace Prize and leave us in peace. The real negotiations are not those between Israel and Palestine, but Israel and the Obama administration.
Wow.
So that's pretty slim, and that's coming out of an ally, a pretty big ally in Israel, and that's pretty much how they view it right now, especially Kerry, and we all know he's a moron anyhow. So, and then the final thing I have, did you hear about the Iranian President Hassan Rouhani boasting on Twitter?
No.
Yeah, he pretty much said, and this is his Twitter response, our relationship with the world is based on Iranians' national interests. In Geneva, agreement world powers surrendered to Iranian nation's will. That was a tweet from his exact Twitter account. So that's how they view.
Did we tweet him back?
I don't think we have. I don't know. Obama didn't tweet him back.
No, we, meaning sackheads.
No, you know what? I'll get on that, though. I can find the tweet and send a response.
Let's tweet him a big middle finger.
I'll work on that. I think I can find one. But it's funny how these negotiations are starting, in 5 days, and they're going to change their whole nuclear program and everything.
Yeah.
And
of course they are.
And then all of a sudden he tweets this out, which, I know we don't have time really. When was the last time Iran stuck to anything?
When is the last time you ran anywhere?
When was the last time I ran anywhere? When was the last time the Iranian government's ever stuck to one thing that they said they were going to do?
Their nuclear program.
No, I mean
their plan to wipe Israel off the face of the map.
They haven't stuck to that yet. They're just working.
They're sticking to it, right?
Right. They're sticking to it.
I've got a story out of Tennessee. There was a law that is being introduced that would make health insurance exchanges established under the healthcare law. They would be illegal in Tennessee under this legislation that was proposed Wednesday by Senator Mae Beavers and Representative Mark Pody. What? Why are you laughing? You're so childish. You're so childish.
You know, if you didn't pause when you did.
What? Listen, what Mae Beavers said is, quote, the federal government does not have constitutional authority to commandeer state and local governments to enforce or implement these federal health care mandates. Mm-hmm. Seems like a 10th Amendment argument to me.
It does, state versus federal. Who's going to win on that? Depends on which U.S. court it'll go to, and I don't know who has.
Supreme Court, maybe.
Yeah, it'll go to a district one first, but.
Yeah, but eventually maybe the Supreme Court.
Hey, I know.
I'm tired.
I am exhausted. This was a great show. I appreciate everybody hanging out with us tonight. I also want to say a special hello to our good friend T-Bone, who's listening from home this evening.
T-Bone. I have a story about T-Bone. The one about T-Bone and the ostrich. And I think you were there for it. I shouldn't tell this one on air.
No, this isn't a good one for the air.
Right? It is better than the llama story.
This is much better, but I don't have a dump button ready to go right now. Without Sacco there's just certain parts of it that we have to...
But do you remember when he picked his head up and he turned and he had that quizzical look on his face? And we're like, you can't bury your head like that.
It was nice having friends.
I won't tell the full story out of respect for T-Bone.
For our good friend T-Bone. Thank you for everybody who listened to us this evening. Check us out. We are on Spreaker. We are on iHeartRadio. You can listen to us here on Blog Talk Radio. You can always grab the archives on iTunes. Keep up with the latest Sackheads news at sackheadsradio.com. Did I get everything? I think I left a few out. Twitter, we're on Tumblr. We have Facebook. Let's see.
Check out Jump Vote.
Yeah, check out our good friend Voters Trust and Jump Vote. Greg Phillips runs that. Really good friend of ours. Check out Ken McClinton on the Exceptional Conservative Show Monday through Thursday.
Rooster.
Check out Rooster at Outcry Radio on Saturday evenings at 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Why are you staring at me?
Because I'm trying. I think there's somebody else I'm supposed to remember, and I don't have my notes with me.
Patriot Ordnance Factory. Check out their rifles, POF.
POF-USA.com. Is that all?
Tammy.
Our good friend Tamara Jackson. Tammy J. She's on Twitter at Tammy J. Check out her website, rightvoicemedia.com. We will see you next Wednesday evening.
Well, you'll listen to us, and we may type you, but we don't know that we'd see you.
Well, I was thinking about doing a video feed next week. None of us. I was going to do it just the wall. Ooh, we should do it out the new panoramic picture window at our new studio. That would be pretty awesome.
It's a piece of plexiglass that we set up. What do you mean picture window?
No, the new studio. The one where we can actually see the outside?
Right, because we are outside, and it's just because we got kicked out of every other studio. We need to come up with a new name for our new studio, by the way, because we've had the layer. We have had the layer. We had Studio One. Studio One. Which was our first studio. This is the silo. This is the silo.
I don't know how Sacco's going to carry everything up the ramps to the surface again, but that's fine.
That's his problem. That's his problem. Am I wrong? That's his problem. Don't be the freaking sound guy, right? Be an on-air personality. You don't got to carry equipment up the freaking silo.
Well, trust me, there's no heavy lifting or thinking on this side of the microphone. So that should be like our contest for the next month.
Who can move us quicker?
Yeah. We're taking applications now. We'll screen them. No, name this new Sackhead studio. That'll be fun.
Okay, but it's got to be something cool.
It's got to be something cool.
Or freaking hilarious.
Absolutely. Email your submissions, or...
It does have to be something that'll withstand the test of time, so it can't be like something about Obama because he'll be out of office.
Maybe we'll put up a poll on our website, too.
Maybe we'll put up a poll in the new studio.
We'll pick up the... Ooh, that'd be fun for Sacco to dance on.
Or T-Bone.
We'll pick the top 5 names, and we'll throw it up on the website for people to decide. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
So we're going to let the listeners name the new...
Well, we're not really going to do it. We'll just, it's our website. We can screw with the polls all we want.
That's a good point.
And plus, it'll probably we're going to pick the top 5.
Hey, Hitler screwed with the polls. Didn't work out so well for him, okay? So let's be careful what you're saying.
If we're going to pick the top 5, 4 of them are going to at least be our suggestions.
Right.
The 5th one might be Sacco's. We will see you folks next week here at 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. on the East Coast on the Sackheads Radio Show.
It's Sackhead Clint.
Sackhead Sean.
Have a good evening.